right, so it looks like we've got quite a few people joined us. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Rebecca Johnson, and I am a parent at Oak Hall since my children were, my son was 3, who's now in 5th grade, and I have a daughter in 4th grade. So many of you have been right alongside me that entire journey. So I'm really excited to take this role on and help coordinate our volunteer efforts at the school, as well as really engage alumni like hasn't been done in a while. So excited for that. I do want to let you know that this is being recorded, and that is because so many of us, work, and I want to be able to post the link on our website so that everyone has access to this information. So a few things that are new this year. I know you've probably heard that a lot, new this year, but I'm so excited to have our kids back on campus. But one of the things that is new is, instead of a parents association, we now have something called our Oak Hall Volunteer Connections. And with the Parents Association, it kind of was just a traditional way to get parents involved, but with so many of our families now being dual working families, this new way of connecting volunteers to the school will kind of just open up for something for everybody. So you don't have to be the person that can invest hours to come here and help out, but this will just kind of broaden the experiences for all of our volunteers. So hoping we'll have so many more parents that feel like now they're able to do that. So excited. So just want to introduce a few people that have joined us. So today we have Jeff Malloy, who has headed up our reentry plan for the school. We're so thankful for that. Without all of the hard work that they've done, I don't know that we would have been able to be on campus. So along with our teachers and faculty all across the school and staff, but very thankful to Jeff. So he'll be here just kind of, because things are so new, if we kind of get a little lost, he can kind of direct us in the right direction. So the other person that's here is Michelle Mills. She is our director of the lower school. If you have not had an opportunity to meet her, she has been a part of the school just like Jeff Malloy for a long time, and very thankful to have her in the lower school. With our new Oak Hall Volunteer Connections, we're basically having coordinators over certain areas, and then they'll look out and have people join them if they need help with that. So we have Sarah Ben-Shoshan. I'm not sure if she was able to join, but she is our coordinator for Eagle Fest. Eagle Fest is a family event that we typically have here on campus, and the kids love it so much. It's a really safe place for them just to kind of enjoy running around with their friends and having a great time. That event has been canceled this year, but it's a long-standing tradition, so we can't wait to have it back. Also, I have Naomi Cheshire. She is the coordinator for Faculty Appreciation Days. And again, I'm not sure if everyone has joined, but just so you guys hear those names, because they may be reaching out to you for help. And then Lori Azell is our grandparent liaison. And so she would be helping Grandparents' Day, and that's supposed to happen in the spring. We haven't made a decision about whether we'll have that on campus, but she would be helping coordinate that. And then Abby Farmer, who is our homeroom volunteer, is joined us today, and she is over that program, and really that's why y'all are here. As Oak Hall homeroom volunteers, this is a person that works with the school to help ensure an amazing year for the whole class. The role of a homeroom volunteer is to support the teachers, students, and other parents to help organize, plan, and communicate classroom parties, teachers' birthdays, and other events. It's going to look a little different this year. And so, Abby, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you to start talking about what that's going to look like.
Hey everyone, just to introduce myself, I have a 5th grader, Braden. We've been at Oak Hall since preschool with Rebecca and a couple other faces on here. And I have a 2nd grader, Brinley. So we've kind of been through it all, every grade, parties, and what they look like, teachers. I mean, it's we've loved every minute of it. And so this year, of course, for us looks so different than any other year here. So, we do have some changes. First of all, the used clothing closet that's upstairs above where the stage area is, that was usually handled by volunteers, and that is going to just be handled by school for right now. Box tops, they've also moved to it virtually. So we're going to do a video about that later on in the next couple of weeks, just to get you guys the information that you need to get those box tops. And to hear is how parents are going to be involved in the classroom. And we are going to still have classroom parties, still do teachers' birthdays, still do kids' birthdays, but it's going to look much different than before. Parents aren't allowed in the classroom, and that's just to keep the kids safe, to keep them in their bubble with their classes, to keep the teachers safe. So it's going to be a lot more planning and preparation outside of the classroom so that the teachers can make it easier once you drop off the supplies that you need. So for your child's birthday, you can still drop off individually packaged items like popsicles or ice cream sandwiches, or have Publix put cupcakes in individual containers, and you can drop those off to school. There are bins outside of the ECLC and the lower school, and you can put those items in there and let your teacher know to expect them. And then that way the teachers can go ahead and hand them out, and there's less touching of food between kids or between teachers and kids that, you're not going to pass along germs. So what they're looking for is things to be packaged by themselves. Same thing goes for teachers' birthdays. You can send in cupcakes. You can have an ice cream party with a little individual ice creams. Figure out if someone has a dairy allergy in your classroom to see if you should also maybe bring in some popsicles as well. But those are the types of things that you're looking for. For classroom parties, it's going to be the same thing, but you're going to have to be super specific in your signups. I know sometimes you'll put desserts on a sign up and you have someone show up with cookies in a big box, or you have someone, or every parent that has signed up for a dessert show up with cupcakes. This year, you're going to have to be super specific with, individually wrapped apples. If you're going to get like some people used to get trays of Chick-fil-A nuggets. If you're going to do that, they have to be individually boxed nuggets, so it's easier to just pass out and distribute these things. Individually bagged chips, bags of gummies, or special treats. Things, again, that are just, you have to think about. You can't get huge bags of chips to then dole out to everybody. It just has to be simple and able to be wiped down if for some reason they needed to be before they were passed out. So I'm sure, a lot of you that make your home treats, or you make these exceptionally lavish crafts for your classroom, this is going to be a huge change for you. You can still do some of these things. We can still, think about doing a craft that's maybe prepackaged. Oriental Trading has a lot of them. But what we're going to have to be super conscious of are the kids that are distance learning, and how can we incorporate them into these class parties. So someone had suggested maybe doing a freeze dance party where you can help moderate it that way, or maybe do bingo where your cards are laminated and the teachers could wipe them off. And for like Halloween, you could send in the individually wrapped bags of candy corns. And so the kids could open them and then use those as their counters, and take that stuff home with them or discard it when they're done. So these are the kind of things you have to think about. And I know for a lot of these parties, we go all out and the decorations are on point. This year, it's going to be, dropping these items off to the teachers, and then the teachers are going to, be asked to go above and beyond what their job description is and put this stuff out like we usually would. So decorations can't be over the top this year. You have to think of maybe some tablecloths, your forks, knives, spoons, plates, napkins, those type of things. But you also have to think about what your classroom looked like in second grade. Our second graders in our classroom are at individual desks. So if you were to post on your website or your Sign Up Genius, you know, the person would have to think about cutting tablecloths into the size of the desk so you could put it on top of the desk. Or Dollar Tree currently has back chair covers that are $1 a piece, and you could just have the teacher put these things over the back of the chair. So it'll change the look of the room, but not really ask them to do a whole lot when it comes to what we do for parties, when they are usually hands off and we go in and set all this stuff up. So I'm sure some of you are going to get super creative and think of some great ideas. I would just ask that you email me if you have ideas, and then I'll bounce them off Rebecca, and Rebecca can get with Coach Malloy or Miss Mills and make sure that these are acceptable before you guys go out and spend a ton of money, to make sure that it's something okay for the classroom. Like something that if it was a teacher's birthday and you sent flowers, those flowers can't be wiped down and disinfected and then taken into the classroom. So the teacher would probably have to wait till the end of the day to grab those from the front office or wherever they would be stored. So you have to think about those things. Those things probably won't make it into the classroom. So maybe if you're thinking about doing something for a teacher, electronic gift cards or things that can be, and I know some of that seems not personal for them, but it's understandable right now just to kind of keep everybody safe and everything. But if you do have some great ideas, I'd love to hear them and share with other people, of things that they can do to make this still a lot of fun for the classrooms. Because it's just all about limiting touch points and how many people are touching things along the way. So it's just best to look out for anything prepackaged. Game prizes, if you're going to do game prizes, they should be individually packaged already, or stuff like pencils or plastic things that could be just wiped down with a Clorox wipe, just to kind of make sure that they're nice and clean. Goodie bags in the past have been said no, but sometimes we still do them anyway. We can't do those this year, especially with kids being at home, and they just don't want to feel left out of something that, even if a balloon was there and they didn't get a balloon to go home, we would just hate for that to crush a child's heart, because it's hard enough as this all is for everyone. And when you're bringing stuff in for all these parties, there's going to be bins outside. I'm sure closer to the holidays that we're celebrating, there'll be more bins, or bins will be somehow designated outside of the buildings. Rebecca would probably know more than that, or Miss Mills. But we'll be able to get that stuff in there for them. I mean, if you guys have questions, please let me know. I think Rebecca has my number that she's going to put up, as well as my email address. So we can still make this a lot of fun. We can still do a lot of fun things for the kids. I mean, we could, put together some boxes that they could open up, and it would have a special treat in there for them, and have maybe, a simple craft for them, and maybe somehow get those to kids in your class that are distance learners, and then they can all do it together and have a good time. Maybe even they could send in a book to the classroom, a special book that the teacher could read, or if there's a short movie that you're thinking of, something along those lines that would just make it feel like a holiday, but not necessarily go overboard when things are just so crazy.
And the idea here, thank you so much, Abby. The idea is, the balance between normalcy and a safe environment, and how can we do that? And I think that is really our goal, right? To keep kids here, to keep kids safe, to keep our faculty safe. So how can we do that? And, have a sense of normalcy, and importantly, especially this year with our at-home learners, a sense of inclusivity. So this year, even more so than in previous years, it's important, to not just connect in your classroom, but connect with other homeroom volunteers in your grade. If there's this sense of consistency and inclusivity, I think that's going to really be meaningful to our community right now. And we have some questions. about home treats. Thank you, Jeff, for answering that. But it was, can we make homemade treats and send it in? And so Jeff has answered that if you are going to make a treat at home, you know, we're all depending on each other to do our wellness checks and make sure that these safety measures are put in place. So if you are going to prepare something at home, we ask that you be masked and that your hands be gloved. You know, honestly, if there's a way not to prepare it at home, you know, I would lean towards that. You know, again, it's all just about keeping us safe. And then as far as bringing things to home learners, you know, everyone has their own reason for keeping their children at home, because that's what's best for their family. But the reasoning may be because of, you know, a compromised immune system. And so I'm not sure about sending things home. But if you know that you're ordering, you know, a certain craft from Oriental Trading Company, you know, letting your at-home learners in your class know, letting the teacher know ahead of time so that they might be able to, you know, find something similar. So they're doing something similar at home. Or reaching out to them and saying, hey, can I order one, you know, for you? And we can just, you know, drop it off or put it in your mailbox. Or, you know, communication, I think, is really going to be key this year, now more than ever. Some other questions. So can you bring things to the teachers for their birthday? You know, teacher gifts are always appreciated. And like, you know, Abby said, we want to keep them safe too. So just be mindful of that. You know, Jeff Malloy has said that he's okay with teachers bringing a present, you know, for them, for their teachers. But you know, just be mindful of that. You know, to be honest, I think, and Michelle Mills might be able to chime in here, but I believe that teachers love gift cards. They really do. They love home written notes, you know, that just talk about how maybe they've impacted their kids. So just be mindful of those things. I'm trying to look at all the.
Yeah. So Rebecca, while you're looking, can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Oh yeah, and guys, you probably see when you drive through the lower school, both right in front of the lower school and the ECLC, we have baskets set up out there too. And so there's always someone drop off, and if we see someone pull up, we're out of the office and, you know, attending to whatever. So if you have anything to drop off there, you want something for a teacher, that's fine. You know, just drive up. We'll come out. We'll get it. We'll bring it inside. And we also, our at-home learners, they have pickup every Friday from 4 to 6. So if there's something that you wanted them to have for a party, I mean, obviously we can't do huge things for, you know, everybody, because if you look at, I think as of right now, we have a little over 80 at-home learners. But, you know, that's in the ECLC and the lower school. You know, that Friday before, if there's something that needs to get to them, we'll include it with their things.
Great. And, you know, Miss Mills and I had talked about putting coolers, like she said, out there. So if it's something, you know, you know, Mrs. Hogan and Miss Mills, I don't know if anyone moves faster on this campus. So, you know, if you have something that is needing to be refrigerated, they're going to be checking it all the time, especially on pre-party days. And I'm sorry.
What is
rosters be posted? Abby has the information for your class lists, and she will be sending that out. She'll also be sending out a bullet point of just guidelines. You know, we didn't want this meeting to be, you can't do this, you can't do this, more about ideas on what you could do. But just so everyone stays on the same page, we are going to have a list of guidelines that you can follow. And then also Abby's contact information and my contact information. And then we're recording this, like I mentioned, so we'll send out that link for anybody, but we still will have homeroom parents. As far as Shutterfly, that's always been an optional use. Some people like to use Facebook, some people use Shutterfly. You know, Shutterfly for class lists, I think, is very helpful. Facebook, texting, whatever's going to work for your classroom. And the way to figure that out is, because we're not getting up in front of our classroom at back to school night, you know, and Abby can probably tell you what she does. She's a great communicator with classroom parents, but sending an email and saying, hey, you know, I'm Rebecca Johnson and I am Miss Todd's, one of Miss Todd's homeroom volunteers. For this year, this is how we're going to be putting out sign-up lists. You know, these are some of the parties that are coming up and these are the dates. We'd love for you to get involved. Just, again, communicating with your families and finding what's going to work best. Finding out who, you know, if you do have at-home learners in your classroom. Allergies is another thing. You're going to find those things out by communicating with your fellow parents.
And once you get to know these parents, you're going to have someone say to you, look, you know, both my husband and I are physicians, and there's going to be no way that I can come to parties, but I will buy juice boxes for you. I will buy bottled waters. And then for the next party, you can reach out to that person and be like, hey, would you mind buying those things for the next party? And they just want to be told something specific that they can do rather than thinking I'm going to have to sign myself up for a craft, or I'm going to have to sign myself up for something that isn't in my wheelhouse of things that I can do. So you're going to have those families, and that's great because they all play a part in this, whether it's your time, talents, effort, any of that. You know, they're going to be able to help you out in that, and you won't have to, you know, purchase that on your own. So don't feel like you need to do this all on your own. Definitely make sure that your families are helping you. We're going to email out to all the teachers, Rebecca and I, the teachers' likes and dislikes, and we're going to send out the class rosters and the birthday for teachers. And then kind of as you get a group of parents within your class, if you can let me know, and I'll send you your teachers' likes and dislikes, and you can distribute that to your class, whether it's through email or Sign Up Genius or Shutterfly, whatever you guys are doing. Facebook, I think we've, you know, posted all of our teachers. As you get older, they all move around classroom to classroom, so you have 6 teachers rather than 2. So, you know, it's whatever you want to do, but then we'll get you out those teachers' likes and dislikes. We'll get Miss Mills and Mr. Bartley to fill out those too. Miss Sharon Hogan. So then you guys can have access to all those for birthdays or appreciation weeks, or, you know, whatever you guys need.
Yeah, and someone, you know, Venmo's great. You know, so while we don't ask for money, we don't ask parents for money, you know, as all of us know, we pay tuition to be here, and we don't want that messaging for classroom parties to be reaching out. We've got really great needs at the school that we want every parent to contribute to. So, you know, but if you have a family that says, listen, I cannot come to school, I have an at-home learner, or I'm working, you know, nonstop, can I give you, you know, can I Venmo you $20 to go purchase cups or some individually wrapped silverware? Like Abby said, you know, most of the people that volunteer to help in a homeroom have that ability to go and get things. So, you know, just communicate to your fellow parents, and I'm here to support you on the school inside. Abby's there to support you from a fellow parent side. You know, the administration, you know, is so helpful, and you know, I've had to ask Jeff Malloy some questions on, okay, what does this look like, and how are we going to do it? So don't, you know, just ask questions, and it's not gonna, you know, we're not gonna say, no, you can't do that. It's, well, you know, that's a thought. Let's think about it. How can we, you know, adjust it to be something that'll work for this year? Because again, it's that balance between keeping kids safe and having some normalcy. I think as a parent, I've certainly seen the effects of this pandemic on my own children. So I want them in school, and I want them to have as much normalcy as possible. And so I think we're all coming from the same place of keeping our kids in school and healthy, and keeping our faculty healthy. Are there any?
I think as all this changes and rules change or things, restrictions change, I'm sure Coach Malloy will let us know, and Ms. Mills will let us know, and we'll be able to adjust things from there. So, you know, this will be a constant communication type of a thing. So as of right now, Halloween party will be the hardest because it'll be the first time doing all of this together. So after that, it might get easier. We'll learn lessons, you know, just move forward.
Yes. Is there, does anyone have any questions right now that would be for the benefit of the whole group?
I just want to say, Rebecca, too, guys, you know, we still have their children here, no matter what's going on out there in the world, and we recognize that. And we want, even though this is, you know, there are a lot of things that we're not able to do and a lot of changes, I still want our students to enjoy being here and with their class and having fun. We're not just saying, we're shutting everything down. They still do need to have a Halloween party. They still do need to have a holiday party. We want them to enjoy that and their friends. And we're doing our best to work on how we can include our friends at home too. And we're here to help and assist with that. So, you're welcome to email me as well anytime. Annie Zarenpar, I see, is on here too. She's amazingly helpful too. So please understand that we're not anti-party or anti, kids having fun. Actually, I want them to have as much fun as we can possibly have safely. So, reach out if you've got any questions. We're here to help and assist.
I have a question. As a grandparent, I was wondering if you needed any help with your physical plant, such as, coming over to help you sanitize the playground equipment at a certain time during the day, or, helping with that kind of thing rather than individual classroom, or are you covered?
Jeff, can you answer that question for us?
Hello, thank you. Yes, I would say we're covered. I mean, we've trained extensively our faculty and staff, including like the extended day staff. As much as that's a generous offer, again, it kind of gets, we have the no visitor policy on campus right now just to keep the kids safe. And so we're just trying to limit the number of possible exposures they can have. So that's not even something that we could do. We've hired a day porter that comes in and, the restrooms, for example, are cleaned about every 2 hours. The lunch area cleaned in advance of lunch, touch points wiped down, in front of Coke machines in the upper school, things like this. The playgrounds are attended to by the mainly in this case by the teachers, and then the extended day staff. Sometimes even after each use, like if a kid's on the swings and they're grabbing both chains,
Right.
those chains are wiped down. But we're in about as good a shape as we could be.
Okay, perfect.
But that's a great question, and thank you, Jeff, very much, for answering that. Really the lengths that everyone has gone through to keep this campus safe has really, really been wonderful. I also wanted to make sure, as I mentioned, more and more our families are becoming dual working families. So, as we go forward, just, make sure we understand some people may not contribute anything, and it really has to be, I want to contribute, so I'm doing this. There's no, pressure to make sure that you're doing a certain level of party. Like Michelle said, it's just about letting the kids have a great experience. And so, everyone's going to participate on their own level. And we are changing the structure of our volunteer core just so that we can have more people contribute in a way that fits with their life schedule, but just kind of be mindful of that as you go forward. And also, let's also be mindful of what the teachers are doing in their classrooms every day. So I can tell from experience that Abby and I have thrown some pretty crazy parties, like many of you, where we went a little overboard, especially our first year here. Sorry about that, Michelle. And it got a little crazy. So, just stepping back and looking at, is this really fair to ask the teacher to be doing this? So when you're thinking about decorations, when you're thinking about parties, if everything's, individually done, it should be easy for them to pass out. But, please don't send anything where they've got to recreate, Monet. We've gone a little crazy with some of the crafts in the past. So if you can simplify, just so their kids are having a good time, treats are great. If you are going to do any type of game, make sure that it's wipeable. Like Abby mentioned, bingo cards that are wiped down, individually wrapped candy corns to be able to use as markers, and then that kid's the only one touching it. That's very easy for a teacher to put out. You know, streamers and balloons, this year probably not the best idea. So, you know, just try to be mindful of the teachers having to do this in the classroom. But most importantly, I want to stress how valued you are. You know, our parents are what make our community, are a big part of what make our community so wonderful. When we do surveys and talk about why people joined Oak Hall, community is up there with one of the top three. You know, it's academics, safety, community. These are like the top three of all of our parents. So we wouldn't have this type of community without you. So please know, even with restrictions, how valuable and how appreciated you are to our community. We will send out a link to this recording. We will also send out guidelines for you. We'll send out class lists, and then a link to our website that'll just have more information on ways that you can volunteer. If you have someone in your classroom that says, you know, I really can't be a homeroom volunteer this year, but I'd love to maybe work on next year's Eagle Fest, or I'd love to see how I can help with faculty appreciation lunches, or the book fair or box tops. Please, you know, refer them to that website. Any
And
other
sometimes, I'm sorry, sometimes this isn't about just parties and classrooms. It's about knowing your parents well enough. So if, like I think 5th grade is currently studying hurricanes, and your uncle is a meteorologist, and you could connect them virtually to the classroom, and they could talk to the class about these things. Or I think there was a family member that was a NASA astronaut and talked to the class. So sometimes it's just knowing your families well enough that you could say, oh, that would be a great thing for this family to participate in, and really kind of take their experience to the next level. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a party. You know, I have a family that would always help and send things in, but they couldn't physically be there until one of our teachers was getting married and another teacher was having a baby, and mom was a great quilter and helped the class make personalized quilts for these teachers. And it was amazing. And, you know, she took a day off and came in, and I mean, that was prior to COVID, but that was something she was really passionate about. So knowing your parents' skills and talents and, you know, their connections is really helpful to make those experiences better for the kids.
Yes, Lydia, you had a question. You have your hand raised? No, you're good. Okay. Any other questions?
So I was going to ask Rebecca, yes, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you, this, to me as a, even a grandmother here, it's really helpful. I don't know who all the homeroom moms are, and if anybody's, you know, just room parents are, I apologize. But once you get those lists, we'll make sure that the teachers get to you class lists as well. And if you need any contact information, Sharon Hogan is great about doing that. Are you also going to do this year, I know teachers a lot of times fill out a form on, you know, simple things they like, drinks, et cetera, et cetera. It helps me a lot as a grandmother. So just wondered if you're doing that again this year.
Yes, that'll be included in one of the documents that Abby and I are going to email out to everyone. It'll be a teacher favorite form. And so if you are interested in being a homeroom volunteer this year, make sure that you email Abby so that we can send that information out to the rest of the parents in your class. You know, I know you're going to be, if you want to be a homeroom volunteer in your classroom this year, you're going to be sending something out, introducing yourself, I'm hoping, so that parents know who you are and who they can, you know, come to ask questions about the things going on in the classroom outside of academics. But yes, teacher favorite forms are so helpful because we, you know, we all want to show gratitude for the hard work that the teachers in our kids' classrooms are doing. And while it's not required, it certainly is appreciated. And so you know, if you want to know what they like, then this is a great way. And so, yes, that will be emailed to everybody as well. Any other questions? Trying to make sure I don't miss anything. There's quite a few of us on here, so. I thought freeze tag last year with third graders was hard, but freeze dance on Zoom. But I'm gonna let, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna let Jeff kind of close us out with a few comments.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you to all of the parents that the trust you've placed in the school to try to navigate through these times. We appreciate it. I think a lot of hard work went into trying to do things right, reopen the school safely, and you've begun to see our messaging now that we've done, we think most of all we can do here. And, the message we're sending to parents and in the homes is, and that you all can help us with other, we've got to also have that cooperation at home. And, it came to our attention last week, if you saw our message Friday, that some of our peer schools have had substantial quarantines and some infections because of parties that were thrown at the home where masks weren't worn and there was no attention paid to social distancing. So, I'm just as desperate as everybody to get back to normal and socialize and go places and do things. But we just ask, everybody's help in being thoughtful in the home with your weekend plans, your evening plans, and that just thinking that your actions could potentially impact the ability of our success at the school. So hopefully we can all cooperate, work together, and mitigate all the circumstances and have a great school year. We're certainly committed to that and appreciate any help you can provide along that line. So thank you, Rebecca, for giving me the chance to close with that. And as always, parents, I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Absolutely. Michelle, did you want to add anything before we leave? Thank you, Jeff, very much.
No, yeah, we appreciate everything. Like Jeff said, I think we're doing a really great job. Lower school kids are excited to be here. Our at-home learners, I think, are feeling like a part of the school. We appreciate everything you're doing. I think we're making a lot of progress with everything from, drop off to pick up, but we appreciate your feedback and your suggestions, and we hear you, we're listening to you, and I just want to thank you too for volunteering and all you do for our school.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Abby, for coordinating this, and we will be in touch with an email shortly. Again, if you have any questions about reentry, please reach out to Jeff Malloy. If you have questions about lower school policies, please reach out to Michelle. And if you want to volunteer or you have questions about how you can do that, please reach out to Abby and me. All right, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you.